like to test the degree to which research findings mimic the audience's beliefs whenever I am presenting and have the opportunity. One question I like to ask the audience is the following. Technology makes information readily available, thereby reducing the importance of relying on memory for our students. True or false? I'll let you think about it. I ask this question because I know most people will agree. Say true. Despite expecting this, I am always shocked to hear it, especially from educators. Students often wonder why they need to memorize the times table or anything at all if they can just use a computer or a calculator. Why bother learning facts about history? It is true that never before have humans had such an easy access to a huge quantity of information that they can reference almost immediately. I get it. In our technology-enabled world, it can be hard to see the value in memorizing information that you can just outsource to technology. How important is it to amass knowledge, and why store something in our brains that's available at our fingertips? There are at least 3 powerful reasons. Learning success greatly depends on prior knowledge, and knowledge is the foundation for creativity. And without that, we can't do any critical thinking. We need knowledge for critical thinking. If those 3 aren't powerful enough, I'll add a 4th one. Quite simply, memories make us who we are. Dozens of research have spent decades evaluating what promotes learning success. Prior knowledge is widely agreed to be critical to learning. Our learning process is fundamentally impacted by our prior knowledge and past experiences with learning. We rely on prior learning to filter and interpret new information. Sophisticated learners engage in activities that foster storage and retrieval of information by organizing and making connections between prior knowledge and new concepts. In fact, if educators are not intentional about a student's prior knowledge, they might default to a way of teaching that treats students as a blank slate to be filled with knowledge. This is as ineffective as it is untrue. Plutarch, the great philosopher, famously stated, "The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but wood that needs igniting." I love this quote about education. It's 2,000 years old. Ironically, the etymology of the word education stems from 2 Latin words, educare, which means to train and to mold, and educere, which means to lead out and nourish. While these 2 definitions are quite different, we seem to have incorrectly committed ourselves to educare over 200 years ago, and we have struggled to course correct despite the abundance of discoveries about how we learn. As a result, our educational system houses and protects flawed assumptions about how we learn. The cost we pay for holding on to those assumptions keeps rising as we fail to train students with the skills needed to succeed in life. Prior knowledge plays an important role in making connections and associations, which is how we learn. Various brain regions are involved in forming memories. They interact with other regions of the brain responsible for decision-making and emotions. This is why you're more likely to remember that someone is a baker rather than the name of someone called Baker. That's called the Baker-Baker paradox in memory. We remember by adding context, meaning, or significance to something we learn. Foundational to learning success is the principle that we rely on prior knowledge to filter and interpret new information to make strong connections. As students progress through school, they should accumulate knowledge that is essential to succeed as knowledge builds upon itself. For example, if we're learning something new in chemistry, the elements of a periodic table, we're able to learn the material because we already have some knowledge, like that helium is used for balloons and lithium is found in batteries. The more we know, the easier it is to learn new things. Quite simply, knowledge begets knowledge. If we don't have this prior knowledge to make sense of the information we're learning, we're far less likely to be able to learn. Many people mistakenly believe they can bypass memory and knowledge and pursue critical thinking and creativity. Think about it. Knowledge is foundational. It's a prerequisite for creativity and problem solving. If we don't know enough about a topic, our ability to create or to problem solve is vastly limited. Creativity is the process of having original ideas that add value. If we produce something original that has no value, then it's absolutely useless. So our creative process is enabled by having a broad foundation of knowledge to draw upon. This is because our ability to think about and learn new things is greatly dependent on what we already know. At the end of the day, we remember when we're engaged, when we care, when what we are learning has meaning. Ultimately, our lives are quite simply the sum of our memories. Do we want to outsource this to a computer? To live a memorable life, we must develop our mind's ability to remember.